You wake, slowly. The stone beneath you is cool, smooth, and slightly damp, like the walls of an old bathhouse just before sunrise. For a moment, there is only stillness. No words, no memory, just the sound of your own breath, echoing lightly through the empty chamber. You sit up slowly. The linen of your tunic clings faintly to your skin, still heavy with sleep. Somewhere nearby, water drips in a rhythmic tap. Tap, tap, and the air carries the scent of oil lamps, faded incense, and something else, bitter, metallic, familiar. You rise. The floor beneath your bare feet is patterned mosaic. Tiny colored stones forming the image of Asclepius, the god of healing. His serpent-entwined staff rests just beneath your toes. You remember now. You are a medicus, a doctor in the city of Antium. And outside these temple walls, the plague is waiting. You step out into the corridor. It's narrow, the stone ceiling pressing low above your head. Your sandals click softly against marble as you walk. Slow, deliberate steps echoing to the silence of dawn. Torches flicker gently in their wall brackets, casting warm golden pools of light on the pale stone. Each flame dances alone, like a heartbeat in the quiet. At the far end of the corridor, a curtain of deep red cloth stirs in a faint breeze. Beyond it, the city breathes. You push it aside. The light is soft, a hazy, golden kind of morning, where the sun hasn't yet fully risen above the rooftops. A low mist curls in the narrow streets, hugging the flagstones like a ghost that forgot to leave. And the smell, burnt rosemary, boiled vinegar, smoke from the fire pits where infected linens are burned. And beneath it all, the thick, coppery scent of death. The plague came 3 weeks ago. At first, only whispers. A fever here, a rash there, a cough that wouldn't go away. Now, there are funeral carts in every street. Now, the baker's door is closed. Now, the forum is silent. And now, they come to you. You walk slowly through the empty street, past closed shutters, sealed doors, and empty fountains. The market stalls are deserted. Even the pigeons have grown quiet. Your satchel is heavy at your side. Inside, a bronze scalpel, a clay jar of opium poppy, linen bandages soaked in vinegar, dried rose petals, and a mask made from soft leather and stuffed with fragrant herbs. You don't wear it yet, not until you reach the infected quarter. Your fingers trail lightly along the low stone wall as you walk, tracing cracks and grooves worn smooth by decades of hands before yours, generations that lived and healed and died long before this plague ever reached your city. You pass the statue of Augustus, once proud and white, now darkened with soot and time. His stone gaze watches you without blinking, without judgment. You wonder, briefly, if he ever feared disease, if emperors ever wake in the night, chilled and sweating, wondering if their cough means something more. At the corner, you stop. A boy is sitting there, knees drawn to his chest, head resting on thin arms. He doesn't look up. You crouch beside him. His skin is pale. His lips are dry, but his breathing is steady. You ask his name, gently, like asking the wind to tell you a secret. He says nothing, so you reach into your satchel and pull out a small piece of honey-dried fig, wrapped in waxcloth. You place it in his hand. "Eat," you say softly. Slowly, his fingers close around it, trembling just slightly, and then you stand again. You leave him there. You have to. There are dozens more, hundreds maybe, and the plague doesn't wait. You turn down the next alley. Here, the walls rise high on either side, blocking out the morning light. Shadows cling to the corners, thick and unmoving. You hear the distant ring of metal, perhaps a smith still working, perhaps a bell tied to the door of the dead. And then the door, number 17, painted red, marked with ash. You knock once, not too loud. Too loud and they panic. Too soft and they don't come at all. The door creaks open. A woman peers out, her eyes wide and sunken, hair wrapped hastily in cloth. She steps aside. "She's in the back room," she whispers. "The fever came yesterday." You nod once, and you step inside. The house is small, one room, divided by a hanging sheet. Herbs hang drying from the rafters. A loaf of untouched bread sits on the table, crust cracked and dry. A pair of sandals sit neatly at the door, too small for any adult. You part the curtain. The girl lies on a straw mattress, limbs twitching faintly under the fever. Her cheeks are flushed, her lips cracked. A bronze bowl at her side holds cloth steeped in vinegar. Her breathing is shallow, fast. You kneel beside her. "Shoo!" You whisper, more to the room than to her. "We're going to help you now." You reach for your satchel. Your hands move slowly, precisely. This is your ritual now. You've done it every day for weeks. Clean the wound, cool the fever, offer sleep, if not healing. You cannot stop the plague, but you can offer peace. And in the city of fear, silence, and smoke, sometimes peace is the only medicine left. You stay with her for a long time. The shadows shift on the walls. The oil lamp beside her burns low, its flame flickering softly, casting golden halos across her damp forehead. You dip the cloth again into the cool water. Gently, slowly, you press it against her skin, forehead, neck, wrists. She stirs only once. A quiet sound, barely a breath. A whisper of life clinging to a fevered body. Her mother stands just beyond the curtain, hands clenched tightly before her, as if holding herself together is the only thing left to do. You don't speak. Not yet. There is nothing to promise. And in this city, promises are rarely kept. You take a small wooden vial from your satchel. It smells faintly of poppy and wine, a bitter, syrupy comfort you've learned to offer when nothing else works. A few drops. No more. You tip the spoon to the girl's lips, and she swallows. Softly, willingly. A motion so small, yet in this world, it feels like hope. She will sleep now, you say, and the mother nods, though her eyes do not. You stand. Your knees crack, tired joints from days bent over the sick and the dying. Your hands smell of vinegar, of herbs, of warm skin and cooling sweat. You gather your things. You pull the curtain back gently, not to close it, but to bless it, and you walk back into the street. Outside, the mist is thin, but the sun still refuses to shine. The city feels paused, held in the space between breath and silence. You pass the public fountain, its water still flowing, though fewer come to drink. You remember how it once looked, busy, loud, joyful. Now, the birds drink alone. You pause beside an old pillar. The stone is cracked, its Latin inscriptions worn smooth by time and fingers and weather. But you trace them still, mouthing each phrase in silence. Salus per medicinam. Health through healing. Your thumb lingers on the last word. Healing. It feels distant. Further down the road, you hear a cartwheel creak. A man in a dark tunic pushes it slowly through the street. Inside, cloth-covered bundles. Still, shaped like children. He does not stop. He does not look up. And you do not ask. You pass him with a nod, and the silence between you is louder than any word. You turn left toward the forum. Once, it was the heart of the city. Now its arches echo only footsteps and wind. But today, someone sits beneath the column of Jupiter, an old man, wrapped in wool, a basket at his feet. He calls to you softly, "Medicus, please." You walk to him, slow and careful. You kneel beside the basket. Inside, a woman lies curled, her breathing shallow, her skin bruised, purple to the edges, her eyes closed, lashes trembling. "My daughter," he says, "the fever came 2 days ago. I have no home left. They burned it. We sleep here now." You press 2 fingers to her wrist. A pulse, faint, but there. You ask for water. He nods and lifts a clay jug, half full, warm. You pour some into your hand, gently wet her lips. She stirs. Her fingers twitch, then fall still again. You reach for the satchel. The tools are few but familiar. A small jar of honey, a cloth soaked in chamomile, a needle in case the swelling rises, and herbs, crushed fennel, dried thyme, bitter, sharp, cleansing. You work slowly, like an artist restoring a forgotten painting. Touch by touch, breath by breath, as you press the herbs to her skin, the scent rises around you, earthy, ancient. The same smell your teacher used in Hispania. When treating soldiers return from war, you hear his voice still. Not every cure heals a body. Some just give time to say goodbye. You don't know yet which this will be, but you do it anyway. You sit with them until the sun finally breaks through the clouds. Only for a moment, a shaft of golden light slips between two rooftops, painting the stones gold. The pigeons stir. A dog barks, somewhere far away. A window creaks open, just an inch. Life tentative, fragile, but there. You leave them food, dried figs, half a loaf of flatbread wrapped in linen. The old man clutches your wrist as you stand. "Thank you," he whispers. "Thank you." You nod, and again you walk. The sun climbs higher, but the city never warms. You pass a statue of Minerva, goddess of wisdom and healing. Her stone eyes look away from you, as if even the gods grow weary of watching. Your feet ache now, a dull throb behind your knees, in your back, in your chest. Still, you walk, because in this city, where fear has settled into the bones of every man, woman, and child, you are one of the few left who still walk door to door, who still knock, still kneel, still stay. And even though the plague continues, even though the bodies pile, you continue, because healing now is not about saving lives. It's about easing pain, carrying grief, sitting in the silence without running from it. And in that, there is something sacred. You return to the temple as the day folds into afternoon. The streets are warmer now, but not alive. The silence still hangs like smoke, heavier in the corners, thicker in the alleys. Even the sun, as it filters through the stone archways, feels distant, more like memory than light. You pass the bakery. Its door remains closed. Flour still clings to the windowsill, untouched for days. You remember the scent of fresh loaves, warm, yeasty, comforting. Now only silence. And yet, someone has placed a single olive branch at the doorstep, a gesture of mourning or hope. You pause a moment, bow your head, then move on. Inside the temple, the air is cooler. You step into the atrium where the pool still reflects the sky. Soft ripples disturb the surface, but only slightly. A dove lands at the edge, drinks quietly, then lifts into the rafters. You set your satchel down and stretch your back. The muscles protest. Your body aches with a dull, worn fatigue of repetition. But you don't stop. You rinse your hands in the pool. The water is cold. It clears the scent from your fingers. Mostly, you remove your tunic, hang it to dry. The linen is damp with sweat and smoke and hours of worry. You take another cloth, fresh, cool, and press it to your eyes. And for a moment, just a moment, you allow yourself to sit, to be still, to breathe. You think of Galen, the great physician of Rome. His scrolls lie stacked beside your cot. Worn edges, annotated margins. You've read them all, again and again, searching for answers, for methods, for mercy. But the pages do not change. The ink does not soften the fever, and the past cannot touch the present. Still, his words echo in you. First, do no harm. Second, do what you can. You whisper the words aloud, not as law, as prayer, a knock at the temple door. You rise. It's Julia, a midwife you've worked with for years. Her face is covered, but her eyes speak before her mouth can. "They've collapsed at the bathhouse," she says softly. "Two of them, a merchant and his boy." You nod. No time for rest today. You pull your sandals back on, tie the satchel, and follow her into the city once more. The bathhouse is quiet. Its tile halls once echoed with laughter, water, gossip. Now, your footsteps sound too loud, even though you walk slowly. The walls sweat with steam, but the warmth feels wrong today, like something boiling behind glass. You step into the caldarium. They're lying near the water's edge, the father and son. The man is breathing, but barely. His face is flushed, his chest heaving with every shallow breath. Beside him, the boy is quieter, eyes half open, lips tinged blue. You kneel beside them. Place your hand to each forehead. Too hot, too fast. The attendants have already tried vinegar. They've rubbed the feet, whispered prayers, burned myrrh. Now they look to you. You unwrap a bundle of hyssop and bay leaves. Press it to the boy's chest. You whisper softly, soothingly, as if your voice alone can cool the fever. You know it can't, but sometimes it helps. The father stirs. His lips move. You lean closer. "She's at home," he rasps. "My wife. Tell her not to wait." You nod, though you don't know her name. You promise, even though you may never find her. He exhales and his eyes close. But not in death. Not yet. You work in silence. Cool water. Cloth. Press the skin to neck to wrists. The boy coughs once and your heart stutters. But then he breathes again. Julia stands near, mixing herbs from her own pouch. You share no words, only glances. This, too, is ritual. Two healers, doing what they can. In the fading light of a crumbling city, when you finally rise, your knees ache, your arms tremble. But the boy's fever has broken, at least for now. You carry him into the frigidarium. Lay him gently on a dry cloth. Cover him with your own tunic. He murmurs something, a dream, perhaps, or a memory. You do not ask. The father remains quiet, but breathing. You leave Julia with them, and step once more into the air. It is evening now. The sky, a soft blend of lavender and bronze. You walk slowly, not from weariness alone, but from a kind of reverence. This city, though dying, still lives in its corners, in the boy's slow breath, in the dove's wings, in the olive branch on a closed door. You walk past the amphor cellar stall, empty now, but still standing, and you think of tomorrow, of the dozens more you will see, of the names you'll forget, and the faces that will stay with you forever. You think of the girl in the curtain room, of the old man and his daughter, of the merchant's final whisper. You think of the silence, and how, somehow, it speaks louder than anything else. You return to the temple in darkness. The oil lamps are lit. The stars, distant and flickering, begin their watch. You sit on your cot, remove your sandals, lay back on the cool stone slab, arms folded over your chest, and for a while, you listen to the distant bells, to the wind across the tile, to your own breath, slow and steady. Another day waits. Another door will knock. Another child will tremble beneath fever cloth. But not yet. Tonight there is stillness, and for a few moments more, you rest, to be continued. You wait before dawn. The temple is quiet, so still you can hear the breath of the earth itself, soft and ancient beneath the stone. Somewhere in the rafters, a sparrow stirs, rustling feathers in the dark. You remain lying for a moment longer, listening. The stone beneath your back is cold now, but not unkind. It holds you, like a memory holds a name, and as your eyes adjust to the shadows, you rise once again. Your sandals find the floor with a soft thud. You wash your face with cool water from a basin, tie your sash, and gather your tools. The satchel feels heavier today, not because of weight, but because of what it carries. Not just instruments, but hours, grief, hope, the stories of the ones you could not save. You run your fingers over the leather strap, worn smooth at the edges, and you breathe in deeply. One more day. Outside, the streets are still sleeping. The sky is ink blue, not yet morning, but no longer night. Oil lamps flicker in distant windows. A cartwheel creaks far away. A dog barks, then goes silent. And slowly, the city begins to stir. You walk with quiet steps, each footfall like a whispered prayer upon the stone. The wind carries the scent of lavender today, faint, as if someone, somewhere, still tends a garden. You follow it. Your first visit is a widow, Lucia. She lives at the edge of the city near the olive groves. You've been there before. Twice, in fact. Her husband fell ill in the second week of the plague. She nursed him for 5 days and then wrapped his body herself. She burned his clothes in the garden, lit incense at the doorway, and did not cry. Now, it is her own cough that draws you. You find her seated on the threshold, wrapped in a wool shawl, her hands resting in her lap. She looks up as you approach, and for a moment, she smiles. Still standing, she says softly. You crouch beside her, take her hand in yours. Warm, but not burning. Her breath is shallow, but not ragged. You press your fingers to her neck. The pulse is slow but steady. You say nothing, just hold her gaze. She leans in, resting her head against your shoulder, and you sit with her beneath the waking sky. No herbs, no tools, no medicine this time, just presence. And sometimes that is enough. She speaks after a while, of her husband's sandals, of the way he would light the fire with one match, never two, of the silence at night, when the wind comes to the windows and says his name. You listen, not because you have answers, but because listening is the answer. And when she falls quiet again, you press her hand gently. You are not alone, you say, not a cure, but a comfort. She nods, and you rise. You pass the olive trees on your way back. They shimmer silver green in the light, their branches bending gently in the morning wind. You stop, place your hand against one trunk, its bark rough, solid, ancient. It has lived through other plagues, other wars, other griefs, and it still stands. You take that with you. You carry it like you carry every face, every whispered name, every last breath spoken into your hands. You carry the tree and walk on. By midday, the city is warmer. The plague house at the edge of the district calls you next, a place where the worst are taken, where family cannot follow, a place of slow breathing and slower passing. You enter through the archway. The guards don't speak. They only nod. Your face is covered now. Your mask smells of mint and crushed pine, sharp and grounding. Inside, the quiet is like water, heavy, still. You move from room to room. A man with trembling hands. A young woman, curled on a blanket. A child with eyes closed, but not asleep. You kneel beside each one. Feel their skin. Offer cloth, water, balm. Not because it will save them, but because it will hold them for a little while longer. You speak to them, softly. You say things like, "You're safe. You are not forgotten. I'm here." Sometimes they hear you, sometimes not, but you say the words anyway, because the silence must be filled with something. And kindness still matters. You lose one before the sun sets. An older man. You did not know his name. He spoke little, but as he passed, he reached for your hand, and you gave it. You stayed with him until his breathing stopped, and then, a little longer, you closed his eyes, wiped his brow, whispered thanks, then stepped back into the fading light. Evening draws the city into a hush again. Shutters close. Candles glow behind curtains. The wind picks up dust and secrets from the stones. You return to the temple slowly. Every joint aches. Your feet feel heavy, like they carry the weight of 1,000 footsteps. You pass the well on the way back. Someone has tied a ribbon to the post. Red, bright, hopeful. You stop. You touch it. You do not know who left it, or why, but it feels like someone believed today was still worth something. You let the thoughts settle inside your chest. Back in the temple, you remove the mask. You wash your hands, slow and thorough. The water runs dark at first, ash, sweat, and sorrow. You pour the rest over your arms, your face, and sit at the edge of your cot. The scrolls remain on the table, unread today. You stare at the wall, painted with scenes of healing, of gods placing hands upon the sick, of stars above cities that did not fall. You lie back and close your eyes. You are tired, but not broken, and tomorrow you will rise again, because this is what it means to heal in the time of plague, to kneel, to listen, to walk forward, even when the road disappears beneath your feet. And so, softly, morning returns. Quietly, you awaken not with a jolt, but like a boat drifting back to shore. Your breath is slow, measured, and for a brief moment, you forget what day it is, what week, what plague, but then the wind moves through the window. and with it, the faint scent of burnt rosemary, and silence, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that holds a city in its fist. You sit up, swing your feet to the floor, and feel the familiar weight press into your shoulders again. But you carry it, because you must. You step outside the temple. The morning is colder today. The sun hides behind clouds that feel too low, too close, like the heavens themselves are watching. A vendor's stall creaks in the wind. Empty bowls. Dust settling on old apples. A dog lies curled beside a broken crate, tail flicking in its sleep. You pass him without sound. You've learned not to disturb those who still dream. You make your way to the baths again, not for cleansing, but because that is where the orphans are kept now. They do not call an orphanage. No one says the word, but everyone knows. You enter through the rear courtyard, where a once proud statue of Apollo leans, cracked at the base. A child has drawn a smile on its face with charcoal. You pause there, just for a moment, and then you step inside. The room is warmer than you expected, not with fire, but with breath. There are at least 20 children here now. Some sleep on mats. Some sit in corners, holding soft cloths or broken toys. Some simply stare at the walls. You recognize 3 from earlier weeks. The girl with the missing shoe. The boy who always hums. The quiet one who never looks you in the eyes. They are all here, still breathing, still waiting. You crouch down beside the humming boy. He has no fever, but his fingers are raw from biting. You take a soft salve from your bag, made from olive oil and beeswax, and begin to apply it gently to his hands. He watches you, not with fear, but not with trust either, just watching, as if unsure if this moment is real. A woman approaches. Marcia, one of the last remaining caretakers. She whispers, "There's another new. He came in the night." You nod, and she leads you down the corridor. You pass mural walls, faded paintings of laughter and water and sunlight, now covered with dust and smudged handprints. At the far end, the room is small. The boy inside is even smaller. He lies on his side, face turned to the wall, a blanket clutched to his chest like armor. You kneel beside him. He does not move. You speak softly, not asking, not instructing, just being. "I'm here," you say. His breathing hitches. "I won't leave." Still no reply. But when you rest your hand on the edge of the blanket, he doesn't pull away. And that for today is enough. You spend the morning there, checking fevers, wrapping fingers, washing small faces with warm cloth. At times, the silence is unbearable. At times, it feels like the only thing holding the room together. You speak little. Children don't need many words. They need presence. They need to see someone who isn't afraid to stay. So you stay. By midday, the wind outside has changed. It carries with it the sharp scent of fire. From the southern quarter, the burning zone. You know what that means. A building has fallen, or someone burned their home to stop the spread. Or worse, the cremation pits have grown too full, and the city burns what it cannot bury. You close your eyes and take a breath. You are needed there too. You walk across the city once more. The air is thicker now, not smoke, not yet, but dread. Shutters close as you pass. Footsteps echo more quickly down alleys. Voices hush. You tie a cloth around your face, dampen it with vinegar from your pouch. It helps. A little. The southern gate is guarded by soldiers now, not to keep people out, but to keep them in. You show your seal, the one engraved with the staff of healing. They let you pass. Inside the burning zone, time moves slower. Ash floats through the air like snow. Blackened beams rest atop crumbled stone. The ground is littered with what once was. A child's cup, a torn scroll, a sandal still tied. You pass them gently, careful not to disturb the dead, or the grief. You hear coughing. Follow it. Find a woman kneeling near a doorway, holding someone in her lap. A man, older, covered in soot, his eyes half closed, his breathing shallow. She looks up. "Please, he's all I have." You kneel beside her, place your fingers at his throat. His pulse is thready. You whisper, "Water." She shakes her head. You reach into your satchel, pour from your own skin, drop by drop, onto his lips. His tongue moves just enough. His fingers twitch. A sound escapes him, half word, half sigh, and he lives. For now, you guide her back toward the gate. 2 soldiers help. Carefully, you leave your scarf with her. Press her shoulder. Say nothing, but you meet her eyes, and she nods, a thank you born of silence. You turn and walk back into the ash, because someone else is still calling. By the time you return to the temple, it is night again. Your clothes smell of smoke. Your eyes sting. Your muscles ache as if carved from stone. But you have returned. And for the city, even that is healing. You light a small candle by the altar. Its flame is weak, but it stands. You stare at it for a long time, then close your eyes and let the silence wrap around you once more. The candle flickers. Its light shivers across the stone walls, brushing faintly against the paintings of gods and healers. Their faces now cracked, worn, fading into the quiet. You sit near it, cross-legged, still dressed in soot. The night air presses gently against your skin, cool and dry, almost comforting. You listen. No voices, no footsteps, just a whisper of wind through temple arches and the soft breath of flame. Your eyes begin to close. But a knock finds the door. 3 taps. Soft, afraid. You rise. She stands there, wrapped in a wool cloak. A young woman, her face half covered, her eyes wide. "My brother," she says. "He cannot breathe. Please." You don't ask for more. You gather your satchel, barely unpacked, and follow her into the night. The streets are even quieter now, not because the city sleeps, but because it doesn't dare move after dark anymore. The plague spreads faster in silence. You've seen it. The fear, the way people flinch from lanterns, as if the light itself might carry illness. But you carry one now, a small flame in a covered glass, a fragile star in the sea of stone and shadow. She leads you down twisting alleys, past old bakeries and wells long dry. You hear a lyre playing. Far off, someone singing softly to themselves. You cling to the sound, as if music might hold the world together just a little longer. They live in a room above the tanner's shop. The stairs creak under your feet. Each step a memory of days when these halls held laughter and the smell of cured leather. Now just stillness. You enter the room. It's small. Only one cot, a table, and a lamp whose oil has nearly run dry. The boy lies on his back, eyes half closed, sweat beads on his brow. His chest rises, but with effort, each breath sharp and shallow. You kneel beside him, press fingers to his throat. Cool, but not cold. You listen to the rhythm of his breathing, like trying to hear the sea in a conch shell that's nearly empty. His sister kneels beside you. "He wouldn't eat," she whispers. "He hasn't since yesterday." You nod, slowly, and reach for the clay bottle of elixir from your pouch. A tincture of thyme and fig, crushed garlic steeped in sweet wine. The taste is terrible, but it clears the breath. You tilt his head gently, place a drop on his tongue. He winces, but swallows. Then again, his chest rises, and the air catches, but it flows in and out, a little easier. You place a warm cloth on his chest, soaked in chamomile. Your hand steady as you press it down, then lift it again, slowly, rhythmically, helping the lungs remember how to move. His sister watches and breathes with him. You do too. 3 people connected only by breath. Time passes differently in that room. The walls don't seem to move. The shadows stay where they are. The candle burns without hurrying. And somewhere between one breath and the next, he falls asleep. A real sleep, not the sick kind. You check his pulse again. Still weak, but steadier now. You rise, your legs stiff, your fingers marked with the stain of old herbs and oil. You tell her to keep the cloth warm, to let him rest, to call if he stirs. She nods, and this time her eyes don't look afraid, only tired, but calm. You step back into the street. The stars are out now, and for the first time in days, you look up. They are faint, some hidden by cloud, others dimmed by the smoke that still clings to the rooftops. But they are there. You whisper their names to yourself, one by one, just as your teacher taught you long ago. Sirius, Vega, Arcturus, Altair, names older than empire, older than plague, older than fear, names that remind you this city is not the world. It is only a moment, and you are here to hold that moment. Gently, you make your way back to the temple slowly. Your body aches in new ways now, not sharp pain, but deep, like the tiredness in a bell that has been rung too many times. Still you walk, because there is no one else left to carry this, and because you promised, long ago, that you would not turn away from suffering, not even when it whispers in doorways, not even when it walks beside you in silence. You reach the temple gates. The door creaks softly. Inside, the lamp still glows. The dove still roosts in the corner, and the pool in the atrium reflects the stars. You kneel beside it, wash your hands again, watch the dark water ripple outward, spiraling from your touch like time itself. You look at your reflection, not the same face it was weeks ago. More lines, more shadow, but behind your eyes, the same vow, to serve, to witness, to stay. You lie back on the stone slab once again. The satchel rests beside you, its strap still warm from your shoulder, its contents cleaned, replaced, restored. Tomorrow, it will open again. Tomorrow, another door will knock. But for now, you close your eyes and listen to the wind outside, to the steady flicker of the candle, to your breath, in and out, soft and slow, like the city itself is sleeping beside you. And for this moment, you are safe. The dreams at night are soft and scattered. Faces, too many to name. Places you once knew. An olive grove in spring. The classroom with cracked plaster walls. Your father's voice, humming a lullaby in the dark. But even in sleep, you feel the city. Its weight. Its whisper. Its ache. You wake just before dawn. The sky outside still painted in ink and quiet fire. No birds yet. No carts. Only the deep silence of city not ready to rise. And yet you do. Your breath fogs slightly as you step into the courtyard. The pool reflects a single star, still clinging to the sky. You kneel beside it, cup the water in your hands, and splash it over your face. It is cold, but not cruel. You breathe deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth, the way your old tutor taught you when days felt too heavy to hold. You light the temple's first lamp, a small act, but in this darkness, even one flame is defiance. Today you walk north, toward the outer edges of the city, where villas once stood in proud silence. Most are shuttered now, some burned, others simply abandoned. You pass marble columns cracked with time, gates covered in ivy, statues whose faces have been worn to smudges by years of wind and salt. You remember when these homes were full. Feasts, music, laughter echoing through open courtyards. Now only dust. And yet, there's still someone here. You've been called. A boy greets you at the edge of a grand doorway, no older than 12. He does not speak. He only gestures and leads. You follow him into the villa. Inside, the silence feels different. Not like the temple. Not like the bathhouse. This is a silence that waits, that holds its breath. You pass through arched halls, painted ceilings long faded. Curtains hang like ghosts in the doorways. And then the room. She lies beneath a linen sheet. A woman, older, regal, even in illness. Her hair silver, hands folded over her chest. Her breathing, shallow but steady. The boy stands beside you, unmoving. "My mother," he says softly. You kneel beside her. Her skin is cool. Her lips tinge gray, but her eyes open, slowly. They meet yours. You expect fear, but find something else. Recognition? "I remember you," she whispers. "You came when my sister passed." You nod. That was weeks ago. She had held her sister's hand through the fever. never left her side. Now, the fever's found her too. You mix the herbs carefully. Bay leaf, crushed sage, a drop of oil warmed over a small flame near her bed. You place it on her chest, let the heat rise through the cloth. She closes her eyes again, not in fear, but in rest. The boy sits at her feet. His eyes do not leave her face. You offer him water. He shakes his head. She said not to cry, he murmurs. Said not to waste the salt. You place a hand gently on his shoulder, and for a long moment, the room holds all three of you, a triangle of breath, memory, and silence. You stay until her breathing slows into something softer, until the fever stops climbing, until the boy lays his head against the edge of the bed and sleeps. Then you write on a scrap of cloth. You ink a small note, a mixture of care instructions, herbs, and words meant only for comfort. You leave it on the table. You do not wake the boy. You do not say goodbye. You simply let the door close behind you like a whisper. Outside, the wind has changed again. It carries with it the scent of bread. Not fresh, not warm, but real. You follow it, down 2 streets, past a broken amphora, until you reach a bakery you thought had closed forever. But the door is open, just a crack. You peer inside. A man stands near the oven, tall, weary, eyes sunken, but alive. You recognize him. You treated his wife. He does not speak, only nods. You nod back. He breaks a loaf in 2 and hands you half. Still warm. You take it in both hands and bow your head. You do not need to say thank you. He already knows. You eat as you walk. Small bites, chewing slowly. The bread is dense, slightly bitter. But each mouthful reminds you, there's still hands at need, still fires that burn for food, not bodies, still warmth that is shared, even now, and that is something close to grace. You turn toward the forum. Even in decay, its columns reach for the sky, a skeleton of an empire, still proud, still standing. You sit on the lowest step, place your satchel beside you. The sun, though pale, rests on your shoulders like a blanket. And for the first time in days, you let yourself be still, truly still. You hear the sound of sandals behind you. Children laughing, 2 of them, chasing one another with sticks. Their mother calls out gently from the road. They stop, but not from fear, from joy. You close your eyes and smile. You return to the temple late that afternoon. The lamp still burns. The dove still sleeps. You untie your sandals, place a satchel on its shelf. You wash your hands, your face. You drink water, slowly, gratefully. And then you write a small scroll, a record of the day. You do not write names, only moments. The boy who did not cry, the bread, the sun. Because in a world drowning in illness and endings, it is these fragments of life that matter most. Night comes gently. The stars return. Your cot is cool against your back. You stretch, fold your arms, let the day fall off your skin like dust in a basin. And as your eyes begin to close, you say aloud, quietly, I am still here. And the silence answers, yes, morning doesn't arrive with brightness today. It seeps in slowly, like ink spreading through wet parchment. Gray light washes over the temple floor. Soft, muted, quiet. You rise without the need for thought. The body remembers the rhythm, the rituals, the ache in the knees as they meet stone, the crackle of linen robes pulled gently over weary shoulders, and the breath, always the breath, steady, purposeful, present. You tend to the flame first, still flickering in its clay bowl, still defying the wind with its soft golden spine. You whisper thanks, not to the gods, but to the stillness, to the silence, to the simple fact that you are still here. You feed the flame one strand of olive bark, and it flares briefly, then settles again, like your own heart. Today's walk leads you east, toward the poorer quarters, not the plague houses, but the in-between places, homes not quite sick, not quite safe, where the line between fever and hunger has thinned. The streets here are narrow, Shadows fall longer between buildings. Laundry hangs limp across balconies. Colorless now, dusted in ash and sorrow. A boy runs past you barefoot. Fast, silent, eyes wide, holding something close to his chest. A small bundle of cloth. He disappears around the corner. You do not follow. You've learned some things run not from danger, but from memory. You reach the courtyard you were called to. A midwife waits at the threshold. Her eyes speak first. Worry, grief, resolve. She gestures inside. Twins, she says. Too early. Their mother won't wake. You enter. The room is thick with heat. A low fire crackles in the corner. The scent of boiled barley and iron clings to the walls. Two swaddled infants lie in a shallow basket, one sleeping, the other stirring, mouth seeking. You kneel beside the mother. Her skin is pale, her breath shallow. A damp cloth rests on her forehead. You press your fingers to her neck. The pulse is slow, but present. You glance at the midwife. She nods, but her lips tremble. She lost too much, she whispers. I've done all I can. You nod in return. And then you sit, not to fix, but to stay. You unwrap your satchel. From inside, you remove your last pouch of honey water. You press a drop to the mother's lips. Her mouth twitches, swallows. You do it again. And again, you speak gently, as if your words might carry into her dreams. You are not alone, you say. Your children are here. You are needed. She does not respond, but her chest moves. Once, then again, small breaths, like the first ones her children took. Moment ago, the midwife places a stirring child into your arms. You cradle the infant, so small, so light, eyes closed, fingers curled like question marks. You press the bundle close to your chest and rock, slowly, back and forth, as the fire continues its low, constant breath beside you. Time moves in circles now. You lose track of hours, of noise, of need. There is only warmth, the rhythm of life at its smallest, a child breathing against your robes, a mother's eyelids fluttering, trying to open again, a room that, despite all odds, still holds a possibility of survival. By the time the mother's eyes finally open, the sky outside is no longer gray. A sliver of gold cuts across the threshold. The midwife weeps silently. The baby in your arms coos once, and then returns to sleep. You place the child back in the basket. Stand, slowly. Your knees protest, your back tight, but your heart is soft. You nod once more to the midwife. You do not speak. There is no need. This room will stay with you, even after the city forgets. Outside, the wind carries the scent of citrus. Not from trees. They were cut down last month, but from peels scattered in the street, left as offerings. You remember the ritual. Citrus to drive away bad spirits. Salt at the doorstep. A spoonful of ash over the shoulder. Superstition? Maybe, but in a time like this, even hope is medicine. You walk toward the market. It is nearly empty now. Just a few stalls. A handful of people wrapped in scarves and uncertainty. One man sells garlic. Another offers dried flowers, lavender, mostly. You buy one small bundle. He wraps it in parchment. You tuck it into your satchel beside the scrolls. Not for healing, not for science. Just for scent, for memory, for something human. Back at the temple, you place the lavender beside the altar. The scent fills the air. Earthy floral, faintly sweet. You sit for a while on the steps. Let the breeze touch your face. Let the stillness wrap around your shoulders. You think of the mother, the babies, the cloth-wrapped child running through the alley, the boy with the bread, the woman by the fire. You think of those who left, those who stayed, and those who waited, in silence, in hope, in breath. And once again, you whisper aloud to no one, I am still here. And the stone beneath you answers. In warmth. That night, the wind returns, stronger than before. It slips beneath the door like a sigh, carries dust through the temple, brushes across your face as you sleep. You stir, But you do not rise. Not yet. You lie still on the stone slab, wrapped in linen, your fingers curled loosely over your chest, your breath steady. Outside you hear something. Not a voice, not footsteps. A bell, far away, slow, deliberate. One chime, then two, then silence. You open your eyes and rise. The bell means only one thing. Another body has arrived at the city's southern gate. No family, no escort, no name. And you are one of the few still willing to meet them. You wrap your cloak, tie your satchel, and leave without a sound. The streets tonight are nearly empty. Even the dogs do not bark. Even the shadows seem afraid. But the moon watches you. Half-lit, cold, distant. You walk beneath it, each footstep echoing like a slow drumbeat through stone. You pass closed taverns, shuttered temples, broken fountains. A child's doll lies in the dust. Its eyes are missing. Its dress torn. Its arms open, as if still waiting for someone to pick it up. You pause, not for long, but long enough to feel it. Then you move on. The southern gate looms ahead, its archway blackened by fire, its columns cracked. Two guards stand in silence. One of them nods when he sees you. He doesn't speak. He just points to the cart, covered in cloth. Still, waiting, you approach slowly. The cart creaks as you climb onto it. You pull the cloth back and see a man, old, bearded, wearing a worn tunic with a faded green border, a merchant sash. His hands are folded over his chest, but it's his eyes that make you pause. They are open, staring upward, as if still searching for something in the stars. You close them gently with your fingers. The lids resist for a moment, then soften. You whisper, "May your journey be light." And then you search his tunic. You find a scrap of parchment in the lining, a name, just one word, written in hurried script. Marcus. You say it aloud, so it will not be lost. Marcus. The guards help you lower the body. You carry him to the pyre just beyond the wall, a clean place, built by hands who still believe the dead deserve fire, not soil. The wood is stacked neatly. You lay him down with care, straighten his tunic, place a sprig of dried sage beside him, not because it's tradition, but because it's all you have. You light the corner with your torch. The fire catches, hesitates, then climbs. Orange light dances across the stones, illuminating your face and his. You do not look away, not even when the smoke begins to rise. You stand there and watch until the last flame curls into silence. You return to the city slowly, not out of grief, but reverence. Each step feels like a goodbye. You whisper his name again, once more, not for him, but for the world, so that someone, somewhere, once knew a man named Marcus lived and died and was sent into the dark by hands that still remembered how to be gentle. The sky is beginning to pale. Not dawn yet, but close. You pass the baker's shop again. This time the door is shut, but outside someone has left a bundle, wrapped in cloth, still warm. Bread. No note, no mark, just trust. You carry it with both hands, as if it might break. You do not eat yet. You walk it back to the temple and place it on the altar, a gift returned. By sunrise, the city has begun to stir. You hear a child cry in the distance. You hear water being drawn from a well. You hear a cartwheel turning too fast around a corner. Life. Strange, fragile, persistent life. You sit at the temple doorway, the bread still warm beside you. You close your eyes and breathe. Inhale, exhale. Let the morning sun rest gently on your face. Let the silence settle again. Let the memory of Marcus and the fire and the doll in the street all fade into the folds of your robe like sand into the earth. You rise only when your body asks you to. You stretch. You wash. You eat. Slowly. 2 small pieces of bread and a sip of water. Then you gather your satchel again, because someone else is waiting. Somewhere, a door will knock, and you, still standing, still breathing, will answer, not because you are strong, not because you are certain, but because you are still here. And in this city, that is everything. Evening returns like a whispered prayer, not rushed, not loud, just present. It slides gently across the rooftops, spilling golden light over the worn marble of the forum, painting the empty stalls of the market in soft amber. You stand at the temple's threshold once again, watching it all. For weeks now, the city has endured, and so have you. You've held hands that could no longer hold back. You've whispered comfort into fading ears. You've carried fire and silence and names. And yet, you are still here. A pigeon lands beside you, gray feathers, tired eyes. It pecks at the crumbs near the stone step. You tear a small piece from your bread and offer it gently. It doesn't flinch. It eats, stays, then flies again. Just a moment, but it feels like a promise. That something, even now, still returns. Tonight, there is no knocking at the door, no cries in the distance, no bells, only stillness. And so you stay within the temple. You light each lamp slowly, one by one. Their flames grow like stars reappearing at dusk. You cleanse the altar. You wash the basin. You prepare the herbs again, not because someone waits, but because it is what you do. This, too, is healing. This, too, is medicine. You sit by the central flame. It burns low now, but steady, like your heart. You open your scroll, the one where you recorded each moment that mattered. You unroll it gently. The ink has faded in places, but the words are still there. The woman who would not cry, the bread by the fire, the name Marcus, each line a thread, stitched into the fabric of your memory. You add one more. This night there was peace. You set the scroll down, fold your hands, and breathe. Outside, the city holds its breath, not in fear, but in pause. The kind that comes not from silence, but from listening. You listen, too, to the faint hum of wind through columns, to the creak of old wood in the roof above, to the sound of your own breath, in and out. You've heard this rhythm before, in the cries of infants, in the fading sighs of the old, in the heartbeat of mothers clutching their children, in the soft shuffle of orphans finding sleep, all of them still echo in you, still alive inside the silence. You lie down once more, your robe folded neatly beneath your head, your satchel beside you, its contents clean, aligned, ready. Your fingers curl loosely over your chest. You close your eyes, but your mind is still walking, gently, slowly, back through streets no longer full, past the forum and the baker's door and the burned gate, to the face of every person you tried to help, every hand you held, every life you touched, and every soul who touched yours. You dream again. But this time, the city is different, not healed, but blooming. Vines cover broken walls, not with decay, but with life. Children laugh from courtyards, chasing each other between stone columns. The baths are full again, with water and voices and warmth. A woman walks past with a basket of herbs. She nods to you. A man calls your name from across the square. He smiles. The sky is soft pink. Doves fly overhead. And the wind carries only the scent of fresh bread and spring flowers. You do not speak in this dream. You do not need to. You just walk and feel the world becoming whole again. The morning will come, and with it new wounds. But tonight, the city rests. And so, do you? Not because the work is finished, but because rest is part of it. Because sleep is a kind of healing. Because you have given all you could. And in this temple, this heart of quiet devotion, your story will remain. Even if the city forgets, the flame by your side flickers once, then steadies, a final whisper of light and calm.